Here we are.
All right, here we go. Took us a little bit today, but we are
She's
here.
she's the brains.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Mm, mm,
So,
mm.
but we're here and
Yeah.
we're
Yes.
taping. So,
Yes, we are. Finally. Thank you.
well, you're
Soot.
welcome. No,
Because
thank you very much.
Ash would just make another Ash of myself if I had to do this.
Oh no, it would no.
It takes a
I thought it
while.
was all straight and everything, but
Well,
apparently it wasn't. But that's what you have. That's what
that's what.
happens with technology, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So,
And I like your topics today, and we can lead into a lot of different things too.
yes. But I hear you got something to show us.
Yes. Remember last year we started out with Operation Smile,
Mm-hmm.
and those things actually made it to Heritage Hall for Christmas.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So this year, brainstorming about what good can we do and help out for other people. And I'm in that geriatric age, getting very close to it. Remember, I stopped at that 77 number last year. So thinking about a lot of these older folks in homes,
Mm-hmm.
and sometimes they get forgotten.
Mm-hmm. They do.
And I think having COVID and the flu together made me kind of depressed. And I'm thinking about these are these people, and they probably have nothing really to look forward to. So I had this brainstorm that I thought maybe for Valentine's Day
Mm-hmm.
would be kind of cool if we give them some bags of goodies, not food.
Right, because you don't ever know their dietary
No,
needs.
no, not food. Just something that maybe will be good for them
Mm-hmm.
physically and
Mm-hmm.
mentally and for fun. So a few years ago, when Turning Point Healing Retreat Center and the local soccer group did 3v3, and your son was one of the three of us who worked on that, Turning Point got these cute little bags, and I put decals on them,
Mm-hmm.
soccer, but we didn't have a lot of them, and they were each team got something, and the winners got something extra.
Okay, how
It was
nice.
kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, that was the first year.
Mm-hmm.
So we have 48 of these.
Okay.
So I got 24 of them. And I thought it would be fun to put things in that those of us who are in the geriatric age would like to use. Now,
And what age does that start, geriatric?
I don't know, but I'm not gumming my food yet, so.
Okay. Okay.
Oh, just as a
I just didn't know if
statement.
this was my last year, next year I'd be entering,
No,
or this year I'm entering.
You're
Okay.
you're okay. You're okay. So in there, I thought maybe a puzzle book.
Okay.
Okay, so we got a puzzle book and a deck of cards,
Okay.
large print. It's always fun
Always
to
a
have.
must.
Always a must. And when I had my Dyna rings, a jar opener,
Okay.
because you can use these for lots of different things if you can't even open a door sometimes. A bandana. And she's laughing.
This one made me laugh.
And
I just couldn't think of geriatrics needing a bandana, but hey,
I'm going to show you what you can do with it, because notice
you've
I
got
wore
one
one
on.
on.
I know.
I used to wear this all the time after my neck surgery because my neck used to get cold. And these are not too bulky.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we have that. And then we have, well, I'll show you a stress ball.
That will be very useful.
And we have found so much fun that we have been doing. Now, these are not the only items going in.
Okay.
The exercise group, one lady is doing a cute little heart, sewing up hearts that you can use for doilies or whatever, and that's going in. Another one's going to get some of the little Kleenex packages,
Okay.
and another one's going to get some little mechanical pencils to put in here
Okay.
so that they can use them. So that's in our little bag. And we decided that, and I have a little sheet here that I came up with to put in there so they know who did it.
Okay.
Okay. And we were thinking about, where do you take these things? There's the State Home Pediatric Geriatric Center is
Piedmont.
the state, Piedmont, yep,
Mm-hmm.
is estate.
Mhm.
So my daughter said, these people, some of them just get left off.
Mhm.
I thought, oh, great idea. So we have been using the stress ball. But there's so many things you can do with it. You can practice just working the strength of your fingers and your hands, and just doing that, you can feel it in your forearms. It's amazing. Or, see, you can drop it, or using each individual finger to work some strength with it.
That'll be good.
It is. It is. You can put it on your chin and practice, right? You can practice just half curves on your hand. And you can figure out how to toss it up and catch it and learn how to catch it going down. Lots of stuff you can do with this. So our exercise group said we may have to have a class
Yeah,
for
because
the geriatrics to just show them all the different things you
and
can
that'd
do
be
with
really
it.
good because as you get older, sometimes your fingers and everything don't want to work the way they should.
And one lady said when you play the organ, you need to have a certain tension with each finger. This is what I had to do when I had my hand surgery. And all these little exercises. Okay, so that's that.
Very good.
And then the bandana. Now, I'll make it short, but with bandana, you can do all kinds of exercises with it. You can do figure eights. You can do twists on the side. See our belts over there that we use?
Mhm.
That's what we use the belts for.
Okay.
So you can use these like a belt. And you can, if you have your hand on one end and the other, it keeps you holding it, so you have to keep it tight and taut. So you're using your muscles to do that. And you just have the bandana. Or you can blow your nose on it.
I didn't see instructions in the bag for this though.
May have to do an instruction for this too. May have to.
I'd be like, it looks good. I needed a new handkerchief.
Exactly. Well, I do have one in my pocket.
There
so
is for that too.
that is the use. And like I
Of
said,
course, you can tie your hair.
and you can tie your hair, and you can.
If it'll fit.
We got it for a mess. So, and if you want to play hide and seek in the geriatric center, Maud, where are you?
Or, I was thinking if you played blind rummy, but that's not the way to play blind rummy. or blind spades or whatever, where you go blind or whatever. You're just not
you got
supposed
the
to look at
cards.
the cards. You're just supposed to go blind. Yeah, here you go. We're just going to play.
So,
but yeah, that's not the way to do it.
no, not the way. Anyway, so those are the things that are going to in that. And I guess we sort of looked at different things like who should get these wonderful little packages. And we've got 24, so we can do it again. And we just thought that by their merit,
But these will not be given by merit, will they?
No, these will be given out of heart because we want to help these people. We want to show them that they aren't forgotten and left there, because according to some people, it's state run and they're just sort of dropped off sometimes, and they may have no families, or families don't care.
Yeah, because a lot of times if you don't have anybody else to take care of you, do get taken to a place like that.
That's right.
So
That's right.
And there is nobody else, so they could very well
So it's another venture that Turning Point's doing, that we're doing.
And that's a really good thing. It's a good thing. It's going to bring some smiles, hopefully, to some
Hopefully, because we could have a lot. Actually, some of our exercise people said, we'll go with you so we can show them too. So, it's a snowballing effect.
Well, that's good. That's good.
Oh, I want to give something. I want to put something in the bag. No food. There's absolutely no food.
And I wouldn't recommend that.
Nope.
Because you don't know what situation.
Right.
And,
maybe some of these people can't even do the puzzle book, but they all can play with the squishy ball. They all can have a bandana and put it someplace. And so, yes.
Very good. Very good. She mentioned doing it on merit, but this is not by merit.
No, this
merit leads into our topic today.
Yes.
Because
just, and let's look at it. This is going to people who are retired in a whole different era. that things they had to get,
Mhm.
they had to work for.
Yes.
And you, operative word there, you had to work for it.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and in that way, they merit these gifts. Okay, because we remember when you had to work really hard for everything.
Yes. Yes. I mean, I am young enough and old enough both. I'm younger than most, but I'm still in the era that I do remember merit raises.
Oh yes,
I remember things being based upon your actions and how well you performed. And of course, then that made you want to perform better at work
your
because
achievements.
it's incentive. And I think incentive does, it adds more to the job and everything because I think you're going to do better. I mean, I think you're going to work harder. I think you're going to try to prove yourself, and it gives you some satisfaction of knowing.
That's
Correct?
exactly what I was thinking. When you're talking about that, I'm saying it makes you feel personally like you've achieved something. And where did that whole thing change?
I'm not exact. I don't know exact. Well, you know, because there, and you have to consider, even with merit, there are some people that might get a little bit more, but it's because what they did was a little bit, but it's okay. But I mean, those that did nothing didn't get anything. And that's the way it should be. I don't feel like everybody should get something. I mean,
Entitled.
entitled. I mean, now everybody usually gets a cost of living raise generally, but merit raises were that little extra. I mean, they were the ones that's like, okay, you're going to get a cost of living raise, but merit raises were based on performance.
Mm-hmm.
It was based on maybe even your attitude. Maybe you came in early, or at least were on time. You stayed late, or you did something special to add to, you know, the workforce as opposed to just being entitled. And to see, and I guess that's where tenure bothers me. I can't stand tenure because tenure, there's a lot of teachers and um, that need to be fired, but they can't be fired because of tenure, and that's wrong.
That's because that makes them entitled to that position because they
And
have
that's
been
wrong.
there. Now,
I don't
where I
care if
taught, we had tenure. Okay. Did I like? I agree with you completely that I don't like tenure and I don't like unions. Two that I don't like because there are absolutely people who are sitting there
Mhm.
collecting their salary
Mhm.
and not doing the job that they are hired to do.
Yes, and or yes,
Okay,
yes, and they've
that
been
is that
awful,
is what and
awful teachers, or
yes.
yes, they're terrible and
No,
stuff.
I have been in a position where I was hired like it's a seventh substitute because one teacher did not get his tenure. So I have that school district did not give that person a tenure, which I got allowed them for that because that was they stood by a
They stood by
principle.
a principle, but nowadays it doesn't feel like they do that.
No, however, there were a few other teachers who had been there for a long time that still should have never been kept
Hmm.
or should have had a review.
Yes.
So tenure, fine, but after so many years, you have to have a review. Now, I knew one guy that would fall asleep in his class. He'd hand out dittos and give the kids the dittos and then sit there and fall asleep. Is that doing your job?
No.
No. I also worked with someone who took my stuff because he was not prepared. Is that the type of person you want there? So, no, tenure, merit. I worked hard and I didn't, and I liked what I did. And I liked the challenge of doing it and the education to do it. And that was my focal point. And some of these people go into the profession not because they have the desire to teach,
Yes.
but because it's a gravy train for some of them.
Yes, we want, and I've even heard some, not all, and I want to
Oh, not
clarify this.
all,
I am
not
not
all.
bashing teachers.
Mm-mm-mm.
I am not bashing teachers, but I have heard some teachers say they like it because of the holidays and the summers off.
Exactly, because some of them would do a second job. Now, are
But that's
all
not
of
a
them?
reason.
No, but not all of them are that way. A
No.
few, a handful. But you get if you get lazy in your position, then you need to be looked at. You need to have somebody sit down with you and say, "Hey, spice it up a little bit. Change what you're doing." I had I had 13 binders for the topics that I taught.
Mm.
13. And in each one of those binders, each binder was one of the units that I would be teaching. And in that binder, I had several different lesson plans for the same topic. Why? Because I got bored. So I'd come up with a new one. And you'd have to adjust to the kids sitting in front of you.
I would think so.
You see?
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you are lazy, you just give them whatever you've done every year. It gets boring. Well, it would get boring for me. Obviously, it doesn't get boring for some people. But it does for me. I have to have another way of teaching the subject because that's the way my mind works. I have fun doing it, or enhance what I had before. So, yeah, I agree with you. And merit is extremely important. If you were in the business world when I was teaching, you didn't stay, they didn't keep you because if you didn't do the work, goodbye. Now, have you seen the recent stuff that companies are not hiring the younger workforce?
Because
They're not doing the job they're hired for. They think they're entitled to get stuff without having to do the work that they're hired for.
and we have created that society.
We have
though,
created
because
that
we have
society.
given trophies to these kids.
Yeah,
We have given them participation awards. We have given them, and we have created the mess. I have fought this for years. I have fought this since my son was younger. I do not like participation awards. I do not like everybody getting a trophy. I do not believe that that is necessary. And I think that you're creating a society that feels entitled when you do this.
you are.
And so
And now we're
what
stuck.
we're now at a point that if you don't get something, well, I should get it. No, you shouldn't.
And what
No,
we
you
don't,
shouldn't. You should not get it
our new soccer
if you don't
program,
deserve it and didn't work for it.
they don't all get trophies. It's like, but
some other organizations don't like that, I'm sure.
well, when I first started doing soccer down here, every kid, every team got a trophy. And I actually had a player who never showed up but wanted the trophy. I was like,
No,
what's wrong with this picture, folks?
no.
No.
Well, but you still have the same thing going on, even with the soccer leagues, baseball leagues, or whatever, football league. I mean, they're dumbing football down. I understand there's some things with football. I mean, they're working on,
Safety issues, basically.
yeah, but I mean, you can't get it. You can't even show your enthusiasm now. I mean, because that's not fair to the other team. Well, I'm sorry. If you've scored that last touchdown, or you have, I don't know.
It's
There's
called the
limits.
celebration. They don't want you to celebrate.
No, because now it's like, man, we
Don't
don't
make
want
me
you.
feel bad.
We don't want you winning by 50 points. The other team should have been able to score. Well, then they should have
Played
scored.
harder. See?
Well, and sometimes even if you play hard, the other team is better.
Yeah,
So they shut you down, and so you can play your heart out, but you can get stopped.
that's right. That's
So
right.
it's just a fact of life.
How do you advance, become better if you're not challenged?
Exactly. Exactly.
I get challenged every day with a computer.
Me too, apparently. As you saw today.
Like, and I'm looking at her because I don't think I can meet the challenge. She does it.
Mm.
But it's a challenge. And soccer, I have to go back to soccer because our kids were in soccer and your son's in soccer and we're involved in it. And oh, we got to make sure that you can't score so many goals. I hate to tell you this, but if you went to a tournament, they're not going to say, we have a mercy rule, and after so many goals, you can't do this and you can't do that. No, because sometimes your standings depend on that goal differential. So you don't want, it's like, okay, we can only, guys, we can only score 5 goals. Okay, and then after we're way ahead, we can't. So, what does that tell the other? Oh, we don't want them to feel bad, no matter which way you do it.
They're going to feel bad.
Practice harder, play harder. Take a anybody can play with a soccer ball.
But do you want to win based on you, but based on somebody giving it to you?
No, I think you need to work for it.
Yes, and I mean, I've never heard a true athlete complain about losing to the extent that it should. I mean, a true heartfelt athlete. They were like, it made me better. It made me push the next year. Did it suck? Yes. Losing is not fun.
It's not fun.
It's not
like,
fun.
It's like,
but if it's handled properly, I mean, and you look at it, okay, well, we're going to use this to make ourselves better. But I mean, somebody has to win and lose.
And
but
you're
I don't
not
want to
entitled to it.
You're not entitled to. Just because you may have lost 10 or won 10 years in a row and the other teams have lost, it doesn't entitle the other ones to, be able, okay, well, you got to sit out this year. No, no. And the difference, even in my generation, they call it the mercy rule now. We used to call it the slaughter rule. I mean, but we could handle the slaughter rule.
Slaughter rule is like, that's like blood. But
I mean,
mercy is like, oh, okay.
But I mean, the slaughter rule was like you get too far ahead, and then they call the game pretty much because hey, it's over and done, and that's your mercy. We're just not going to make you play anymore because
you're never going to catch up for this game, but you have the option for the next time.
Exactly. I mean,
so if you go back and you work hard, we were actually talking about that today at exercise with the teams, the local central teams, and how the kids don't want to practice. Excuse me. How do you expect? Okay, you're playing basketball, but you don't want to practice?
Because you're going to give it to me.
I don't get it. Okay. I don't get it.
Well, they don't want to do schoolwork, and that's
they
practice.
Don't want to. It's like,
I mean, everything is.
Do I have to do that? Would you like to win? Would you like to put the ball in the net? Then you have to practice.
Well, it used to be failing was not looked on so poorly. I mean, when I say failing, nobody wanted to fail out of school, but teachers would fail kids because
they learn.
This is where, and then the parents learned, okay, well,
we hit the brick wall.
We've got to do something different. You did not meet the standard. So, but now what do? We lower the standard.
We've lowered the standard, and they continue to do it.
And so now you're down to this where even they don't even want to jump over the stick. The stick is on the ground, and they don't even want to jump.
Do I have to?
And see, do I? If I'd ever asked my parents that, I wasn't that kind of kid, though.
Are you kidding? My father would look at my grades, and he was not really tough with it, but like I could have a 92, and he'd look at me and say, "Could you do better?"
Well, that was my mother. My dad was like, "Did you do your best?" I was like, "Yes," and my mom was like, "But she could have had that one more point," and I'm like, "Really, mother?" But Daddy was like, "Did you do your best?" And that was his only requirement. Did you do your best? And if you did your best, then that's great. But no, my mama didn't like even an A-.
Oh, yeah. See, my mom. I mean, they both expected good grades. And my mom, actually, I think I mentioned this last year. My mom ripped my 8th grade report card because I got 75 in science. Now, here's the interesting thing. We're talking about merit and entitlement, all right? My teacher at the time, I was quiet. I didn't answer the questions sometimes because if you got it wrong, he'd come around with a ruler and whack your hand. I don't think I did not want to do that. corporal punishment
You
because
assessed, you
I observed,
observed,
assessed, and reacted and stayed silent. Silent was,
But then that got you.
but
Or
now, were my grades that 75? No.
it was your participation.
My participation grade. Exactly. She doesn't say anything. Now,
But I have knuckles.
see,
My
I got
knuckles
my
are not
hands
bruised.
don't hurt. So, was that a good teaching method?
No.
Absolutely not. He used corporal punishment if you got the wrong answer. Now, that's like making fun of somebody. That guy needed to go to safe sport. He needed to look at these things. Where did you get your degree? And to this day, I never liked that man because, and that's his excuse for the grade. Did I have those grades? Did I merit a 75? No, my grade was higher. But he thought my entitlement, because I didn't participate, was a 75. And my mom ripped my report
But
card. She
see,
was so
these
angry.
are the kind of things that we went through. I mean, this is the
This
kind
is-
of what
yeah.
we grew up with. So,
And
I
you
mean,
learn.
It's just, and you learn and you dealt. And now, I mean, if you try to do anything with a kid, they're going to throw something up, or a parent is going to throw something up. So, I mean, everyone feels entitled to something.
They do.
And I'm just telling you now, you're not entitled to anything.
No.
I mean, you know, it's
You can breathe the air around you. You're entitled to work. You're entitled to earn money. You're entitled education. Get an education.
but you're not entitled to that.
No, but you can pick up a book and start studying. You know what I mean? You have that freedom to do that. There's also many things that I like to study. And I actually told my husband, was it last week? I said, if somebody asked me to teach a class, which I'm going to be teaching, I get really excited about it because they're adults and they want to learn and it's fun.
Mm-hmm. Here's the difference.
There is. And then they asked me, maybe would I teach another class? And I'm like, yes.
Mm-hmm. But
So
there is a difference. So I think that, you know, what we'll do is we're going to be closing this one out or having to wrap this one up. But I think we're going to have an entitlement part 2 because there's so many different forms of entitlement that everybody feels
good idea.
that
Yeah.
they feel like they're entitled to. And I think we need to go over a list of what things and that, you know, you're not. We need to break your heart. We need to just crush your little spirit. So go ahead, and if you don't want to hear, then don't tune in because we may very well crush your spirit. Because you know, there in life you have to work for things.
Mhm.
Even in the Bible it talks about, you know, working. You teach a man, you know, it's better to teach a man to fish
Than to give him the
than
fish.
to give him the fish constantly. I mean, you help people like what we're doing. You're
Yes.
giving little bags. You're lifting people up.
But those people put their time in.
Well, and those people can't do anything anymore.
That's right.
I mean,
they're like
you know,
at the
so
other end of
it's
the
okay.
spectrum, babies and older people. There
So
they are.
yeah, but everybody else in between, no.
Get to work.
So yeah. The only thing you're entitled to do is watch our videos. No.
That's right. You can watch us. Say, oh, those people, Ash and Soot.
But yes, so anyway, we're going to wrap this up. But yeah,
Mhm.
so we'll be looking for entitlement part 2. Okay. All right, and I hope that everybody has a good day and we
Yes.
love the bags.
We do.
Bye, guys.